Hey guys, it's me Betty and welcome back to Betty's Books. Today's video is my 26 for 2026. The 26 books and series that I would like to start and read this year. So I'm counting series as one book, if that makes any sense. Like series I want to start, basically. So I'm kind of counting the first books, and obviously the first book is one book, if that makes any sense. But I'm just going to get into it. I'm going to start off with the series I want to read, that's all I know, and then I'm just going to kind of go from there. So let's get started. Okay, the first series that I would like to read this year is Fireborn by Rosaria Munda. This looks amazing. It's a big one. Let me show you the other ones. They're all so massive. Like, that's a big series. And it's dragons. I've not read a dragon book in a really long time, and I love me some dragons. I do. So it's very exciting. It follows these two kiddies called Annie and Lee, and I don't really know. I don't really get much from the blurb apart from there's Annie and Lee. They're born on opposite sides of society. That is a quote from the what's it called? The blurb. That's what it's called. And there's some dragony stuff, and there's a government, I think. I feel like it might be a little bit of a rebellion book, which is very exciting. So yeah, I can't wait to read these massive books. Okay, the next series that I want to read, I only got the first one out because there's a lot of them, is Shatter Me by Tara Murphy. I read this one like a year or two ago, and I literally don't remember anything about it, and I didn't have the rest of the series yet, and then by the time I got the rest of the series, I'd forgotten everything. So I need to reread this one, read the rest of them. Basically, it follows this girl called Juliet, and she has not magical powers, well, kind of, but that makes it sound nice. But basically, whenever she touches someone, they die, basically. And it's about that. I guess it's dystopian fantasy. There's a lot of books. There's like little in-between novellas. There's like 5 books in the main series and about 4 novellas, I think. So that's a lot of books for me to read. So even if I just make a start this year, I'll be happy. Okay, I feel like the next one that I'm about to say that I haven't read is going to cause a little bit of a stir in the comments, and I'm sorry. I'll explain afterwards, I promise. I need to read Harry Potter this year. I know, I've been a booktuber for what, 2 years now? Which is great, and I've loved every second of it, but I haven't read Harry Potter yet. But I can explain why. So I had my phase when I was like 8, and I got all the movies on DVD, watched them over and over and over again, right? But then when the phase was dying out is the time when I got the books. And I wasn't as big of a reader back then, so I didn't read them. But I've had them for years, and I've been saying to myself for years, you need to read them. And I think 2026 is the time, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I've got all of them, and they've got a really nice box. Like, look at that. That's very nice. Yeah, it's amazing. And I think it's an important thing for me to do. So yeah, I hope my explanation is valid, because that's the only explanation I have. But I will start this series this year and hopefully try and read all of it. Right, the next series that I want to read isn't actually one I'm going to be starting this year, it's one I want to continue this year. That is the Assistant to Villain series by Hannah Nicole Mayer. I did Google her name after the last video. If you watched that, I got a bit confused on how to say her like very last name. It's Mayer, like pronounced like the mayor of a town kind of thing. So these are the second one and the third one. I read the first one last year, but I might need to reread it, I'm not sure, or just search up a summary. But I think there is a new one coming out this summer, or something, so that'll be on the list as well. But I really enjoyed these. Basically follows this girl called Evie who like loses her job and she ends up working for the villain, who's this really evil guy, and it's just really fun. Someone said it has Shrek vibes, and I wholeheartedly agree. And I just want to continue with this series this year. So that's one of my 26 for 2026. Okay, the next series I would like to read, I'm very excited about this. I have a little story time for this. I posted it on my shorts and my Instagram a couple of days ago. So I accidentally bought the third book in like July, June last year. And it took me so long to notice. I didn't start reading it, but I nearly did. I was like, oh, this is going to be the book I read next. Picked it up. The stunning finale or something, it said on the back, and I was like, what? No. It was very sad. But I recently acquired the first two. So all is well. And no, it was just the way that it was displayed in the bookshop. Like, you know how sometimes some books are facing out? Usually, right? I don't know if that's just me. That's the first book in the series, right? But the third one was the one sticking out. And it went third sticking out, second first. So I accidentally bought the third one, but it's fine. And this is the All Our Hidden Gifts series by Caroline O'Donoghue. Got this one recently. Got this one last year. Yeah. So what I know about this series is that there's a girl called Maeve and she finds a pack of tarot cards. I think the whole tarot card concept is really interesting. And she starts reading like accurate readings to people. And I don't know, I really like tarot cards. I'm pretty sure it's pretty Irish as well, which is pretty fun. I don't really read that many Irish books, so this will be really interesting. And yeah, I think it sounds really cool. The covers are really pretty. Like, I really like that. And yeah, I just really wanna read this trilogy now that I actually have the whole trilogy. Okay, next series is also a trilogy, like that one that I just started talking about. This is The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. This series basically follows this girl called, oh, I've already forgotten her name, Kiva. I thought it was Kiva, but I didn't know. Follows Kiva. She basically is a prison healer. She heals people in this really high security prison. And then I gather that there's a rebellion of some kind, because it says on the back that the rebel queen arrived in the prison, and basically to get her freedom she has to go through all of these like elemental trials. I'm quoting lots of stuff from the back, so I can't elaborate on what these elemental trials are because it just says that on the back. And Kiva basically offers to take her place so that both Kiva and the queen can get their freedom, but no one's like ever survived this really difficult, these trials. And I've heard so many good things about this series, so many. These are all three of the books, and I really can't wait to read this series. I am very excited for this one, or these ones, this one, these ones. Yeah. Okay, we got a duology this time, and this is a not continuation. This is a spin-off to a series I read like years ago, and I loved it a lot. And there are more books. This is the Stolen Heir duology by Holly Black. It basically follows Oak, which is Jude's younger brother, if I remember correctly. And he basically has his own little adventures, which I don't know, I loved the world of Elfhame, and I really want to go back into it. And yeah, I have the opportunity to. So I'm going to read these two, hopefully this year, if not just this one. So I don't really have much more to say. I just want to go back into the world of Elfhame. These are spin-offs from the Folk of the Air trilogy, which is The Cruel Prince, which I loved a lot. So it'll be nice to revisit an old world that I loved and wished I could live in, but I can't, so The next two series I want to read are interconnected. They're part of the same universe, set in the same world, and the first of the two series is the Shadow and Bone trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. I have had these ages and I really need to read these and watch the show, even though I think it got cancelled, which is really sad, and I don't understand why they do that. They cancelled Lockwood and Co, and that was a great series. They keep cancelling good stuff, so I gather the show's good because it got cancelled, so, you know. And this basically follows a girl called Alina, who is a soldier, and her regiment are going over this magical land called the Shadowfold, and something happens. Yeah, her regiment gets attacked, and then turns out she has magical powers, and she unleashes them, and she gets swept up into the elite. Sorry, these books are really shiny. I'm going to try and keep them still, I promise. And yeah, she just ends up being magical, and she has to unite the country and learn how to control her powers, and it sounds really cool. Yeah, I love a little bit of fantasy. These look quite short as well, so I really want to read these, and I'm probably gonna commit a week that I don't have school to just sitting and churning some of all of these out, because some of them are quite small as well. So some of the Shatter Me books, some of the Harry Potter books, some of these, just churning them out, if I'm gonna be totally honest with you. And of course, you probably already know the series I'm about to say that's connected to that one. It's no big mystery, but it's the Six of Crows duology. I have heard so many people say that they prefer Six of Crows to Shadow and Bone, but I don't know, I'm going to read Shadow and Bone first, because like with Caraval and Once Upon a Broken Heart, I still think it's a really good idea to read Caraval first. I really enjoyed Caraval as well as Once Upon a Broken Heart, but I just think to understand more of the references and stuff, then it's best to read Six of Crows, even if all of the world building is in these ones, and then it's just more plot and more fun in this one. You still need the world building, in my opinion. But this is a heist book, from what I understand, which is really cool. I love heist movies. I always end up shouting at the TV, yes, you go steal those diamonds. I know supporting crime is wrong, but when it's a heist movie or a heist book, you kind of have to. And I hear there's a lot of found family, and I think that's about it. That's what I know, and I can't wait to read them. These are a bit more chunky. I think the first one is nearly 500, and this one's over 500. So I can't wait to read these and Shadow and Bone, and that is it for the series is that I would like to read. So I'm gonna do some reshuffling, because obviously I got pretty much all of the books out from all of the series, so there's a lot more than 26 books that I have out right now. So I'm gonna put some of them away, get the standalones and stuff out that I want to read, and then I'll be back to talk you through more of the 26 for 2026. Okay, so I just realised that in this whole pile there's only one romance and one non-fiction, so I'm just going to bosh them out the way quickly, because they don't really fit into any categories, the poor guys. So the romance in this pile is Book Boyfriend by Lucy Vine. This basically follows twin sisters. One really likes books, and a stranger leaves her a note in a library book, and they start talking through the library books, and they fall in love. And then the twin sister is basically online stalking an actor. Yeah, so that sounds really good to me. I mean, I just think it will be really cute, really quick. I think it will actually be really good as well. So that's Book Boyfriend by Lucy Vine. I really like the cover as well. But yeah, I like the purple. So that's the only romance on this pile. I'll probably read more. I'm probably going to read You and Me on Vacation / People We Meet on Vacation, depending on where you are in the world, soon, because the film comes out soon. I think it comes out on the 9th of January. So yeah, I'm probably going to read that and watch that at some point this year as well. But for the official list, this is the only romance. Okay, the only non-fiction on this list is The Greatest Nobodies of History by Adrian Bliss. This is literally talking about the greatest nobodies of history, like the guy who wiped Henry VIII's bum. What else is there? The Master's Ferret, I don't know which master. The Plague apparently is a great nobody of history. Vestal Virgins, that kind of, I find the Vestal Virgins really interesting actually. But yeah, I don't know if you've gathered, but I'm a bit of a history geek. I really enjoy it. So I think this will be really interesting. So I'm gonna read that this year. Hopefully at some point. Well, hopefully, because I want it. Hopefully, I don't know how many times I can say hopefully. I would like to get all of these done. Hopefully. So that is the only non-fiction on here. But I'll probably read others as well. Like, I've got these two little, I don't know where they are. Okay, so I've got these two little books here. The Little Book of World Mythology and the Little Book of Folklore, which I think will be really good palette cleansers. They're literally like less than 100 pages each, which, I mean, that sounds pretty amazing to me. So I'm just going to put these back there. And that is the only non-fiction that is officially on this list, but I might read those two as well. Right, there are two new releases I've got my eye on for this year. One of them I'm actually already currently reading because it came out on New Year's Day, and that is A War of Wyverns by S.F. Williamson. Second book of A Language of Dragons, which I gave 5 stars. It was one of the biggest surprises of last year. If you want a full review of that, I literally just posted a 2025 reading wrap up. It was exhausting. So check that out if you want to see that. And yeah, how far through am I? I'm like 40% through. I'm on page 160. Yeah, that's where I'm at. This dangling thing is actually going to really annoy me whilst I'm filming this, so I'm just going to plop that in there. So, A Language of Dragons, I can't talk. A Language of Dragons basically follows this girl named Vivian who lives in London in the 1920s, but there's dragons. And then a civil war breaks out. She gets sent to Bletchley Park to do some translating of dragon codes to help win the war. But, yeah. I don't actually know if I can say any more than that, but it's so good. I loved it so much. I'm so glad I read it in the summer, because if I were in school time, I'd get really annoyed because I'd have to put it down, but I just completely devoured it in like a couple of days. It was amazing. And this is the second one. I've been waiting for this to come out since the summer, so I'm so glad it's here, and I'm loving it. So that is A War of Wyverns. It's so good. Please read it. Okay, the other book that I have on pre-order, I had that on pre-order, but obviously now it's here, is A Stage Set for Villains by Shannon J. Spann. It comes out in February at some point, and it's basically a theatre fantasy, which, that's all I really needed to know. I can't wait. Very red covers for the pre-orders this year. Like, this has a red cover, that one has a red cover. Very red covers for the new releases this year. And I can't wait to read it. Yeah, it comes out in February. I'll put the date somewhere whilst I'm editing. And it's basically a theatre fantasy where there's this like theatre company and there's magic, and I don't know, it kind of sounds a bit Night Circus-y to me. I've not read The Night Circus, but I've heard some really good things about it. And I'm just really excited for that to come out. I'm probably going to devour it pretty quick, so there'll be a review up here at some point, probably in the February wrap-up, because one of my my New Year's resolutions is to actually start doing wrap-ups. I was very sporadic with my monthly wrap-ups last year. I only did a couple, but I'm going to do, hopefully, every month for you guys this year. Okay, now that we've got the pre-orders out of the way, let's talk about the rereads. So, the first book that I'm going to reread this year is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Probably one of my favourite books ever. I'm just going to throw that out there. It was amazing. The film comes out in March. I read it at and I found out immediately afterwards that the film had been announced. But I thought it was going to come out that year. It's been like 2 years now. But it's fine, it's fine. This basically follows this man called Ryland Grace who wakes up on his own in space on a ship, just like isolated on his own. What can I actually tell you? What's in the blurb? Yeah, so he's basically on a suicide mission, essentially, to save Earth from this thing that I'm not going to describe to you because it might be a spoiler. And it's actually really heartwarming. I cried a lot. And I found the science stuff really interesting. And it was just amazing. I can't wait for the film to come out. I'm going to reread this in time for the film to come out. I read this on the audiobook the first time. I don't remember who narrates it, but it's an amazing audiobook. I'd highly recommend it. It is about 20 hours long, but that's because this is a 500-page book. And yeah, the audiobook actually added so much to it for me. But I'm going to reread this, go and watch the film, probably cry as much as I did at the book, and it's going to be a fun time. I might even make a vlog about it, I don't know. So that is one of my rereads for this year. Now, the other one is also motivated by a movie adaptation, and that is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. Probably another one of my favourite books ever, actually. It's like, we're getting some good films this year. And this is the prequel to the Hunger Games about Haymitch's Hunger Games, the 50th Hunger Games, the second quarter quell, double the amount of tributes, 48 children in that little arena. And I read this when it first came out, cried a lot. There's a whole vlog about it actually, right there. And yeah, I just loved it so much. And I'm more than happy to reread it anyway. I might have even reread it anyway, even if the film wasn't coming out. So those are my two rereads. Can't wait to just sit and enjoy them once again, because I feel like rereading books is really cool. I do have a lot of books that I need to be getting on with reading that I haven't read before, but rereads are always nice. Okay, speaking of movie adaptations, there is one more book left in this pile that is turning into a film this year. This very, very sporadic pile that's gotten really messy, and I really need to fix after I film this. So that book is Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. I'm pretty sure this film is already out, actually. I'm not sure, like, as I'm filming this, but I think that when this video comes out, it will be in the cinemas. So this basically follows Hamnet, who is Shakespeare's son. He gets ill. And yeah, I think I've heard that Shakespeare isn't mentioned by name in this book, which is really interesting, and I'd be very interested to see how they do that in the film, if it is true. And it just sounds so interesting. It sounds really sad as well, so I need to like mentally prepare myself before I read this one. But I heard so many good things. I actually don't think I've heard a single bad thing about this book. I just feel like it's gonna be quite intense, which is why I haven't read it yet. But I can't wait to, and then I'm going to watch the film. I'm trying to put in a I'm trying to put in a book before movie policy. So if I have the book and the movie's coming out, then I need to read the book before I watch the movie. Like The Housemaid, I read it at the end of December, and the film's come out. I'm waiting for it to come on streaming, but I've read the book before I watch the film, and I'm going to do that with You and Me on Vacation, this one, Hunger Games, well, Sunrise on the Reaping, Project Hail Mary, all that. So yeah, I really can't wait to read this one. I think it's going to be quite emotional though. Right, from now on we just kind of have a bit of a cheery, happy-go-lucky sci-fi and fantasy time for this list. So I'm just going to get right into it. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 books left. We've got 10 books left to get through. So I'm going to do them pretty quickly because I can't exactly talk about them too much because I don't really know what they're about because I've not read them yet. So the first one is Catabasis, I think it's Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. This basically follows a girl at Cambridge University and her teacher dies? I think so. Yeah. he dies, the professor, and he goes to hell. And her and this other guy in her class go into hell to go and save him. And it just sounds so interesting. So, I don't know, it just sounds so up my street. And I'm pretty sure it's pretty smart as well. So, this is going to take a lot of brain power. But I'm willing to put the effort in for this because I'm actually really excited to read this one. I don't know, it just sounds so interesting, like the whole concept of them going into hell and trying to save their professor. Like, there's probably going to be so much stuff that I've never heard of in this book. But it's fine, because it's a learning journey, isn't it? Like, yeah, if we read, people assume we're smart, so why not be smart, you know? I can't wait to read this one. I hope I enjoy it, because, yeah, and I will tell you how it goes when I read it. Okay, the next book that I want to read in 2026 I got really, really recently, and that is Red City by Mary Lou. Have a look at that. And it's signed. Very exciting stuff. And this basically, there's this, like, illegal drug called sand, and it basically enhances your, like, most prominent qualities, from what I understand from the blurb. So, like, even the bad ones. So, like, if you're really slow and you take sand, you will be, like, really slow. But then if you're really fast, you'll be, like, really fast, you know? Like, boom, like the Flash kind of thing. So, I bought this because I have heard Jamie Foxx talk about it so much. And I love her channel. You should go check her out, by the way, because she's great. But yeah, she read this book and she didn't stop talking about it. So I thought that I should read it because it sounds really interesting anyway. Like, I probably would have picked it up anyway, but because it comes so highly recommended, then I feel like I've got to read it. So I will be reading this year, and I can't wait. I'm pretty sure this is the first book in a series, but I didn't count it in the series category because, at least with those, if I read the first book, I've got a second book to go on to. But with this one, there isn't a second book yet because this came out like October last year. So that's Red City. Okay, the next book that I want to read is one I'm probably going to read really, really soon. It's the longest book on my bookshelf, even though it's not currently on my bookshelf, it's in my hands. But that is 11/22/63 by Stephen King. Me and my mum were going to read this at the same time. And there's this like 3-hour JFK film that she really loves, and we're just going to sit and watch it, and we're going to have a JFK day. And if that hasn't given away what this is about, then I don't know what will. This basically follows a man going back in time to try and stop the JFK assassination on 11/22/63. It's 22/11/63 in the UK, but I feel like 11/22/63 has a better ring to it, so I'm just going to keep saying that. And it's like, how long? It's like 800 pages, so it's 740 pages long. That is a long book. That would probably be the longest book I've ever read once I read it. And I'm really excited to read it. It's just so interesting. I really enjoy time travel in like movies and stuff, but I can't really find many books about it. So this will be really, really good. One more thing, it will also be my first Stephen King. Very excited for that. I've got a couple of his other ones, and since Stranger Things finished, I want to read The Institute, which I've got over there somewhere. So I'll probably be reading that at some point as well. Okay, the next book I'm really, really excited for. It is The Tarot Reader of Versailles by Anya Bergman, and this is set in the French Revolution, and basically follows a tarot reader, I think her name's Marianne, and she can read tarot, and then she meets this girl called Kate who can read the past, and it's just so, I don't know, I love history, and it's set during the French Revolution, which sounds amazing, and the whole tarot thing I was mentioning earlier that I enjoy is tarot, and I just think I'm going to love it. This book is like right up my street, and I just think I'm going to really enjoy it. The next book I want to read is also technically a series, but I don't have the second book, so I'm just counting it as one on its own for now. because I don't have the second book, so I can't move on to the second book if I read it like right now. And that is Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. I know that there's a series before it, and I know that I say that you should read the series before it first, but I don't have the series before it, so this is where we're at. And this basically follows, I think, this girl called Cassie, who, like, there's more about the world on here than the actual plot. So I think that there's just a cat and mouse game between an outlaw leader and Cassie, who's a thief. And I don't know, it just sounds really interesting. I've heard high praise for this. High praise. So it actually doesn't really matter. I can't get much information off of the blurb. And I just really can't wait to read it. It is a bit of a chunky one. It's like 500 pages. But I feel like a 500-page fantasy book isn't that insane. I feel like 500-page romance books are a little bit crazy. But I feel like with fantasies it's fine because you've got to do the world building and all that jazz. So I can't wait to read this one. And I'll probably read the second one and Kiss of Deception later on. Okay, so the next book I want to read is a dystopian that sounds really interesting to me, and that is The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa. This basically follows an island where things just kind of disappear, like hats. Hats disappear, and then after a while everyone forgets what a hat is, the fact that a hat ever existed, because of the memory police. And basically, I think, so this woman who writes books, her editor doesn't forget things. He keeps on remembering them, and he's like under threat of being taken away by the memory police, and she wants to save him. So to me, it sounds dystopian and just interesting. I'm really into dystopias, so I reckon this will be really great. It's actually like not that long either. It's like it's just under 300 pages, so that's actually an average size book for me, but I still think it's going to be great. I can't wait to read it. Okay, the next book I heard a lot about when it first came out, but I didn't get round to it, so I'm going to get round to it this year, and that is The Ministry of Time by Kaylee Ann Bradley. This basically follows someone called The Bridge. I don't actually think our main character gets named in this, but she is basically someone who takes care of people from the past. So there's this guy called Graham Gore, who is a Victorian, a polar explorer? Yeah. And she's basically trying to help him adjust to the real world, and I think a romance ensued, I'm not too sure. But again, time travel, like I said with 11/22/63, really interesting. I've heard that this makes people cry, and I actually like a good cry at a book, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I like feeling stuff from books. And yeah, I don't really have much more to say about it than that, so I can't wait to read it. When I bought it, it came with a bookmark. Very exciting, so that'll be pretty cool. So I'm gonna read this year. Okay, next one is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. This follows a girl who works in a library. Does she work in a library? She was raised in a library. And I think, yeah, so one of the grimoires, which is basically like a witch spellbook thing, is released, and she's fantasy, and she's holding a sword, and I enjoy swords. So there's probably going to be some sword fights in this, which sounds great. Fantasy about books, libraries, magical books. It just sounds so good. Sounds amazing. And yeah, it just sounds great. And there's like a centuries-old conspiracy, so there's going to be some twists, some turns, some magical books. It just sounds amazing. So I'm going to read this and I'm going to love it, hopefully. It's second to last book. This is breaking the film rule, because I watched the film like years ago and I rewatched it the other day. I'm sorry. That is The Martian by Andy Weir, the second Andy Weir book I'm going to read this year. And this basically follows a man who is stranded on Mars, and he basically has to make his way back to Earth. And it's such a good film. Such a good film. So and especially after reading Project Hail Mary, I can't speak, Project Hail Mary, it made me want to read this even more, and I rewatched the film, it was great, and I don't really, yeah, it's so good. And he makes his own potatoes and stuff, and he makes water, like, by burning stuff, and it's just a really cool concept, and I really like it, and I can't wait to read it. Okay, the last book that I want to read in 2026 is a fantasy, a pretty short fantasy, but I really can't wait to read it, and that is The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. This basically follows what's her name? Lucy. This follows a girl called Lucy, and she's like a die-hard fan of this author and his series, and he writes one manuscript, one copy of the last book in the series, and he sends Lucy and some of his most dedicated fans to his home island, which is called Clock Island, I think, which is really cool. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be some like time-themed challenges, which is pretty cool. And they've basically got to all compete for this last copy of the manuscript, and it just sounds amazing, and I think the cover's really, really cute, and it's a really nice cover actually, and it just sounds amazing. Like, this little island, there are some trials, there's a book involved. I mean, obviously there's a book involved because it's in a book, but there's a book involved in the book. It's like them Russian dolls, there's books everywhere. But yeah, I just can't wait to dig into this one. I reckon, yeah, how long is it? It's like, let's see here. It's like 280 pages, so again a bit less than 300. So I am probably going to read this relatively quickly, but I can't wait to read it. Okay everybody, that is the 26 books and series that I would like to read / start in 2026. Thank you so much for coming along on this video with me, and if you want more content from me, check out my Instagram. It's @Betty'sBooks10. I post your reels, your reviews, your generic, just random post stuff. And yeah, I hope you have a great day, week, month, year, however long it is until I next see you. Have a great time then. Bye for now.